Hey everybody out there in YouTube land, my name's Shard, and I did a video the other day, 10 CDs. It went a little bit longer than I was hoping, so under the advice of a friend, I've kind of cut it down a little bit. I'm going to do 5 CDs and kind of deep dive a little bit more on them, so hopefully it won't be as long as the 10 CDs, because I thought I'd be able to rip through them pretty fast, but I'll still go for like 22 minutes or something like that. So let's try this format and see how it goes. So I've just picked 5 CDs from the box of CDs in my wardrobe, and I'm just going to have a little chat about them and some recommended tracks, that kind of thing. And yeah, I'm coming to you from the beautiful Blue Mountains, just outside of Sydney, Australia. It's summer, it's hot, I sweat. It's only like 9:30 in the morning. It feels pretty warm so far. It's going to be a hot day, so I'm hoping to get all my stuff done before the afternoon rolls around and it gets even hotter. Because for some reason, remember back in the summers when it used to get like really hot at lunchtime and then it would cool off? It doesn't seem to be happening that way this year. It gets hotter and hotter all day, and like 6 o'clock it's still like 32 degrees, and then like it starts cooling down once the sun goes down. So even 12 o'clock is kind of, you can get around and do stuff. 3 or 4, oh my god, it's just like an oven that's just been left on, and it just gets hotter and hotter and hotter. It's crazy. Anyway, the first 5, deep dive in 5, or deep dive of 5. Deep dive 5, can I just call it deep dive 5? Yeah, let's keep it simple. Brevity is the key to communication. Deep dive 5, volume 1. I got 5 CDs here from my collection. Let's start on this end here. Forgive me, these CD cases are pretty scratched up and stuff like that, but I'll take some photos and overlay them with my editing skills. So this one is Purdy, Fairytale Insurance. It's from 2004, from Soft Records. So there's this Sydney-based musician named Kevin Purdy. He's been doing the rounds, recording since the 70s, and this jewel case is broken, so it just kind of falls off. Been recording since the 70s. Started out in a band called Tooth, you might have heard of, but might not have, back in the 70s, and he's still releasing stuff to this day. So Purdy, Fairytale Romance. If you like your kind of down-tempo psych, I wouldn't go rock, it's like psych ambient even, but not as ambient as you think of with ambient. There's still a lot of instruments going on, guitars, there's a little bit of spoken word and samples and stuff like that. It's a really good album if you just like want something nice and like mellow and trippy. So yeah, good for a summer's day, I gotta say, if you're just kind of pottering around sweating. Yeah, it's cool. Purdy's under this name Purdy. I think he's done about 3 albums, but then Kevin Purdy's done a bunch of other stuff as well. Soft Records is his own record label. Yeah, this is kind of hard to find these days. I don't know if he's on Spotify, but it's a good album. I quite enjoyed it back in the day. I still enjoy it now. Some of the tracks I'd recommend, probably The Grip was really good. 3 Friends to the Stars. Yeah, I'll leave it up to you to find your favorite track, but that's a couple of mine. Let's do this one. Greg Johnson, The Best Yet. I'm a Kiwi, so of course I love Greg Johnson. That's not like a philosophical thing. You are Shard is a Kiwi. All Kiwis love Greg Johnson. No, it's not true. Not all Kiwis love Greg Johnson. Greg Johnson is a singer-songwriter, recording artist. Started out, I think he was out gigging in the 80s, and then he started a little band called the Greg Johnson Set, which did 3 albums back in the early 90s. And then he's released like 10 albums since then under his own name, as well as like composed music for films and documentaries. Still gigs around. He plays. I've seen him, like he plays like down at the Petersham Bolo every year or two. I keep meaning to go see him, but I don't. I'm sorry, Greg. This is a compilation album from 2001, so kind of collects his biggest 90s hits. So you got things, songs like Isabel, which was a massive song in New Zealand. Massive. Isabel, oh my god. It's still a good song. It's one of the great ballads, I think. Don't Wait Another Day. It's written in this weird cursive, so I can't, like, not weird cursive, it's written in cursive, so of course I can't read it that well. Beautiful Form, great song. Yeah, a lot of good songs on this album. It's a great place to start if you don't know anything about Greg Johnson and you know, just looking for something new, something different. Singer-songwriter out of NZ. I kind of really connected with this album. I was driving for work from Sydney to Canberra to do an event, and I had the work van, and I was like, all right, I got to tool up. I got to, you know, get a few CDs for the drive, and this was one of them. And it really took me back because I hadn't listened to a lot of Greg Johnson in a while. And it took me back to the 90s, man. Back to the 90s. A little kid in NZ. Growing man in NZ, and yeah, I listened to this a few times on the drive down to Canberra amongst another few albums. I can't remember which ones. I'm sure they'll present themselves over the course of this series. But yeah, Greg Johnson, the best yet. I think he's on Spotify. Isabel is definitely on YouTube. Great video, great song. Alright, next one. The best of PM Dawn. PM Dawn, you say, Shard, you don't look like a PM Dawn fan. And I'm like, hey, fella, keep your judgments to yourself. PM Dawn, they got big back in the very early 90s with a song called Set Adrift on Memory Bliss, which sampled Spandau Ballet song as well, and they kind of dragged out a bunch of really cool samples from 80s pop songs and worked them into their stuff over the first couple of albums, I think, anyway. PM Dawn were a weird band. Admittedly, they were strange. They weren't into the whole gangster rap thing that was emerging in the 1990s, late 80s, early 90s. They weren't into that whole kind of, you know, tongue-in-cheek DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince kind of thing. They're more along the lines of De-Loused Soul. So if you like De-Loused Soul and you never expose yourself to PM Dawn, I would highly recommend it. You would love them. They're a really cool band. This is a best of. Unfortunately, they're the main guy, what was his name? I should really write that down and put it in there. Anyway, I think his name was Annette Cords. He died a few years ago. Unfortunately, he had diabetes and stuff like that. But it's got some top songs on it. Set Adrift on Memory Bliss. Still an A-grade kind of dream rap. It's very influential to like the cloud rap stuff that's coming out now. You'd be surprised at how fresh this still sounds. Set Adrift on Memory Bliss, Looking Through Patient Eyes, Downtown Venus is a killer track, one of the great, I think, driving songs. Gotta Be Moving On Up, Faith in You, great albums. They only released, I think, 3 or 4 albums in their career. I think they're still going, but without that guy. Sorry if you can't see it because the CD case is a bit scratched up, but I'll take a photo, put it on there, and I'll link to a song. I'll probably link to Set Adrift on Memory Bliss. It's a great place to start. Great album. I picked this up when I was, where did I get this from? I think I got it from, I owned a record store for a little while, and this was there, and it just kind of ended up in my collection. Next one, Jello Biafra. Beyond the Valley of the Gift Police from 1994. From Alternative Tentacles, his own record label. Jello Biafra, if you don't know that guy, and if you're thinking like, you're just stringing two weird words together, it's just like, no, he's a real guy. He was the lead singer of a little band called the Dead Kennedys, one of my favorite punk bands of all time, easily. Plastic Surgery Disasters, mwah, what an album. This is, I think, one of his first spoken word albums. Jello mainly does spoken word stuff now. He still records, still does heaps of music stuff. Who is he with lately? The Guantanamo Bay School of Medicine. They've released a few really good albums. He's been on tons, man, tons. He was in Lard with Al Jorgensen. They released a couple of like amazing 90s industrial punk albums. Dead Kennedys, of course, and there's like you could spend ages just going into the Dead Kennedys back catalogue and all the stuff that's happened to them since. Copyright kind of battles between the members. He's been withholding profits from he won't give it to a Levi's commercial. So Jello got his pants sued off by the other former members, and they're still touring under the Dead Kennedys name, but without Jello, which is not the Dead Kennedys to me. Not to me. I'll have to, pry my Dead Kennedy CDs from my cold dead hands before I recognize them without Jello. So this is one of his first big spoken word albums. It's 3 CDs. 1, 2, 3. Big fat thing. He talks about all sorts of stuff that is still going on. So like censorship. That's what the big ones on here is talking about censorship, and he goes through his I think he touches on his trial back in the 80s when the Dead Kennedys were trying to get done for obscenity because they put an H.R. Giger artwork. Just trying to hold back a sneeze. Thanks, body, for making me want to sneeze right now. They put an H.R. Giger print with their Frankenchrist album. And I was like, okay, this is the 80s, man. It was different back then. Like, you could do that now, easily. But not back in the 80s. Awesome album. It made a huge impact on me back in the mid-90s when I got it. It's got a really cool booklet with it, which has a bunch of cartoons from Ted Ryle and Tom Tomorrow, who are still around. Still doing awesome stuff. Tom Tomorrow, I follow him on Facebook. Please do go and give him a follow. He's still on the money, man. And Ted Ryle's done some good books, and he's still doing comics as well. And it's just got heaps of like collages and really cool stuff from the 90s and the 90s, man. It's an epic. 3 CDs worth. They're all chockers, like 75 minutes long, or 74. And spoken word album number 4. There you go. Not one of his first. It was actually his 4th. And yeah, a good spoken word album. It's probably dated a little bit, of course, because it's like what 94, 04, 14, 24. It's like 33 years old this year. No, 30. No, 32. Oh my god, showing my age. I mean, I got this not long after it came out. Yeah, great album. I highly recommend it. I don't know if he's on Spotify. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not. Last but not least, Mars Volta, De-Loused in the Comatorium from 2003, I believe it was. First album from that crew. They had a lot of hype. I've got to say. At the Drive-In, one of the band that Omar Rodriguez Lopez and Cedric Bixler Zavala were in before that, were kind of on the periphery in the late 90s, and then they did Relationship of Command. I think that was 99. Was that 99 or 2000? Which was a huge album, and They did a couple of albums and EPs before that, and they did Relationship of Command, and they were gonna explode, and rightly so. Relationship of Command is a great album, but then they didn't explode. Well, I guess you could say they exploded and imploded. They broke up. One of the other guys at the drive-in went and started Sparta, which were a big band back in the 2000s. Good kind of hardcore band. And Omar and Cedric started the Mars Volta, and this came out in 2003 to big fanfare. And it was a great album. Great album. I went and saw them live at the Metro in Sydney. I think it was that year or early 2004. Easily one of my top 10 gigs, just because the Metro is quite a small place. The next time I saw the Mars Volta, they played the Horden Pavilion, which, as the name suggests, is a pavilion, quite a lot bigger than the Metro. But yeah, great album. It's a concept album based on a short story that Omar had kicking around in his head, which was kind of influenced by the death of a friend of his. And it's about a guy who overdoses and then goes, has all these various psychedelic trips and communicates with some beings that he came up with in his artworks, and he ends up wanting to stay in the coma, and then he dies. So yeah, pretty upbeat if you want to go into it that far. But apart from that, it's a great prog, rock, metal, jazz. Those are just words. There's more than that. Flea's on here. Flea does the bass. John Frusciante's on it as well. He lends some of his talents to a few of the songs. But yeah, it's a great album. The tracks are all over the place. There's some short, fast ones. There's some long, fast, short, not loud, slow parts ones. And it ends on a great track called Take the Veal, Serpent Taxed. So Serpent Taxed is the character. But I listened to this a bunch of times. I still listen to it now. And I don't think there's a dud track on here. I think it's a great example of a prog album that you can listen to all the way through and you're not skipping anything. And yeah, it still blows me away, man. I think one of the great things I like about progressive music is that it still sounds fresh. Even though this is 2003, 14, it's 23 years old. They've done a bunch of albums since this. The thing I like about prog music is that it still sounds fresh, even though it's like some of it's old or recorded a while ago, I should say, not old. So like even you go back to the 60s and 70s, bands like Yes, Gentle Giant, that kind of stuff, like it sounds like it was recorded back then, but it still sounds like it could be recorded. It could have been recorded, last week. And that's what I like about prog music. And this still stands up. De-Loused and the Comatorium. The other albums since that get way more labyrinth. They get way more obscure and obtuse. But they're still, the Mars Volta. But this is, I think, a great place to start with the Mars Volta. And you go from there. So that's it. That's Deep Dive 5. I'll put up some links to some songs in the description below. Like and subscribe. See what I can do with this. I don't know. I'm going to try for weekly uploads because hopefully it won't take that long. I don't know how long I've been talking to now, but let's see how it goes. Awesome. Have a great day, everybody.